Hello, you lovely ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bangsa, coming at you from my brand new apartment. Yay! You can see a different background. Not a lot on my walls yet. I'm still working on decorating my new place. So, hello! It's time to take a look at something which kind of fell by the wayside after the reboot camp came out. The Egg Cup Season 2. It's still ongoing. For those of you who don't know what that is, maybe you just subscribed for the reboot camp. This is my personal Advanced Wars tournament that I'm hosting over at Advanced Wars by Web. It started, I think, a few weeks before the reboot camp came out. And once that happened, I became very busy, obviously. And I left some people to organize the tournament, but clearly I didn't leave enough people because a lot of people have been complaining that they have not been scheduled for their matches and they've been waiting a very long time. So apologies for that. I probably should have let more people in charge. That being said, if you want to help me out, we could badly use a couple of extra tournament organizers. So if you're interested in helping out, send me a mail at mangsmemes@gmail.com and just, tell me a little bit about yourself. And I'll probably, if I like what I see, I'll invite you to a private group chat where we do all the organizing. As I said, it's almost 1,000 members, so there's a lot of work to do, and we schedule everything manually. So I need a big group of people to help me with this. I cannot do it on my own. Anyway, in case you're wondering, like, how do I play in the Egg Cup, I'll link a video in the top right corner of the screen. However, we are closing signups this Saturday. Since we're nearing 1,000 players, we decided that it's time to close the matchups. We simply cannot handle any more players at this point. So if you want to participate in the Egg Cup, sign up now. On Saturday at midnight, signups will be closed, and you will not be able to participate in the Egg Cup until we do Season 3 sometime in the future. So definitely go do that right now. Well, after you watch this video, of course. So, as I promised, I'm hosting a video from each round of the Egg Cup. This is round 3. And last time, I decided to showcase a noob match by popular demand. So like 700, 800 MMR. This time around, we're going in the completely different direction. Today, we're checking out pretty much two players who are like the cream of the crop over on the site right here. We got LaskaLarnar and Testu, both 1400 MMR players. Testu closing in on 1500 MMR. Pretty much means you're like the top 1% of players in the world. These guys know their stuff. They can officially be categorized as grandmasters, and they are, it's not a reach to say that they are two of the best players in the world, and I don't think that's a reach at all. Now, very perceptive players may look at LaskaLarnar and you'd be like, there's something familiar about that name. And you would be right, because I have casted one of his matches before on this channel. It was round 2 of Season 1 of the Egg Cup. It was that funny perma-rain map that everyone hated. And he played against Hype Master, and he did really well. A really strong player. I don't know anything about Testu. I haven't heard anything about Testu, but just judging by his rating, we can absolutely affirm that he's a very, very strong player. And I'm really looking forward to seeing these two titans go head-to-head. I think it's going to be a very, very cool match. Now, the map that we are playing on is called And Just What Are We Doing Here? Yeah, that's the actual name of the map, I'm not joking. And this is the map that won 3rd place in the map making contest that I hosted last year. And what's even funnier about this particular map is that it was also chosen for the official Mariner Cup, which is a site-wide tournament on Advanced Wars by Web. So this map has been played on a lot because it's played both in the Egg Cup and in the Mariner Cup. However, I do think that the Mariner Cup made a bit of a mistake when they chose this map, because, you see, in the Egg Cup, we chose this map to be Tier 3, but in the Mariner Cup, they picked Tier 2. This has resulted in some of the stolliest matches that I have ever seen, because almost everyone picks Olaf Eagle, or Olaf Olaf, or Eagle Eagle, which just results in insanely stolly matchups, because you have like standard maps with lots of terrain. You just get two big armies on each side, or as Tordred calls it, advanced walls, which is not fun to play at all. We decided to go with Tier 3 for the Egg Cup, and I think that's a much better pick for this particular map, because it just creates more interesting matchups. Not as stolly as in the Mariner Cup. But it's a great, it's a really great map. I think it's well designed. I just don't think Tier 2 was a very smart pick for this map in particular. I think either Tier 1 or Tier 3 would be probably the best choice. But this map is very wild. It has a lot of strategic rivers and shoals, lots of mountains and forests. You got dual airports that you can capture, so a lot of opportunity for battlecopter play here. You got bases which are pretty far into the middle, so like you can see these two bases, they're actually very close to the middle. Very exposed comm towers as well. If you're not careful, you can get your comm towers snatched away from you. There are 2 labs on each side which acts as the HQs, and they're actually a lot more exposed than you may think, because if you look at the opposing player's base, they kind of have a beeline straight for your lab. So I'm kind of surprised, at least in the Mariner Cup, to not see more people picking Sami in Tier 2. There's probably a good reason why they don't, but I would imagine that if you could get some infantry up here, pop Victory March, that would be pretty scary. Of course, you do have the airports guarding the labs, so you can build battlecopters and bombers and reinforce really easily. But still, these are more exposed than you might think. But the terrain is rough, you know, lots of forests, lots of mountains, which is why I'm not surprised to see that Lash is actually showing up pretty frequently in this particular map. We have Lash versus Kindle, a grudge match of the ages. You guys probably know my opinion on this matchup. I do think Kindle has a very steep advantage because she has a tendency to drain Lash's HP, which makes her prime tactics a lot less viable. Because, of course, when you reduce Lash's HP, you also reduce her effectiveness from terrain stars. And Lash really likes to sit on cities because she gets that juicy 30% extra firepower, which means she's very vulnerable to Urban Blight, and that's just very scary. Urban Blight is just such a better power than Prime Tactics. It just does more value, it has more, it just opens up more possibilities, and it just saps the value of Lash's army little by little over the matchup and just kind of grinds her down. That being said, Prime Tactics definitely has uses on this particular map. I mean, just look at all the mountains, look at all the forests. There's a lot of potential here for Lash to make some really clever plays. Cities are also in good locations, so it's easy for Lash to get value out of her Prime Tactics. She can easily get those 4-star forests, those 6-star cities. Comm towers too, very good for Lash. But of course, they're also good for Kindle, so normally I would say that Kindle probably has the advantage. On this, I think it's fairly even. Probably like 50-50. Maybe like 55-45 in favor of Kindle, maybe. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I say it's time to jump into the match with some bang and reboot Drake theme. I know, not really a naval map, but I don't care. So we have LaskaLarnar. I'm gonna resist the temptation to call him LaskaLarnar. I'm just gonna call him Laska. Laska and Testu. So Laska down here in the black and Testu up here in the white. Chess style, except that black starts now. But one of the bases starts out neutral, so obviously you want to go and get that base immediately. One thing I didn't point out, you have these like harbors right here, which don't really do a whole lot. I think the idea is maybe build a battleship or a carrier. It's weird. I don't really know. I don't really know why there's like 2 harbors here that become captured. I mean, I don't really think there's anything special you can do. Carrier would maybe block both your... I mean, I could see a carrier being built here, actually. It would guard both of these bases from a potential, like, bomber attack, but I don't know. And there's also, like, another comm tower in the corner, so 2 comm towers for each players, which should result in a less stally matchup, at least if you play Tier 3. So that's nice. So the capture chain on this map, not particularly difficult. Like, it's pretty self-explanatory. I don't really know what Laska is doing here, going here. I guess he wants the option of going for either of these properties, which is fine. Day 3 rolls in, Testu captures his base, goes for the city. Yeah, they're both pretty much doing the same openers right here. It looks like they both practiced on this match. Wouldn't surprise me considering this map is also used in the Mariner Cup, so a lot of pros are probably practicing on it. Testu going for the airport. Very nice to get those dual airports up quickly so you can start producing battlecopters rapidly. Battlecopters are okay on this map. They're not like super good, but they're okay. They can dart behind this river, dart behind the mountains. Lash doesn't have any movement bonuses, so her anti-air is not going to get faster out of nowhere, so Kindle's battlecopters are pretty safe for the most part. Of course, you got to be careful about Lash's powers, which can make her anti-air move faster through forests. It's the only thing you really got to take into consideration. But both of these players are strong. They know how to take that into account. Laska opening up an early tank on the left flank right here. Gonna start to apply a little bit of pressure into the middle. Testu open artillery in the face of a tank. That's ballsy. But on this map, I do think artillery are pretty good, because there's a lot of good positions you can place it in. Like, Testu can move down here, capture the comm tower, place the artillery here, where it's guarded by the ocean. and the tank really can't wrap around, so that kind of guarantees the comm tower. So I think the artillery probably not a bad buy here, honestly. So we'll see what Laska decides to do with that, whether or not he goes for it. Just plunks his tank down on the comm tower. That's pretty cool. Denies it pretty much. But of course, Testu can just go capture the city instead. You don't really need to capture the comm tower early on. It's fine. Oh, interesting. All right. Yeah, and now you can see this is also a really great position for the artillery because it's guarded on this side by the ocean. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Now the tank pretty much has no choice but to run away. Unless it wants to take a shot at the infantry, which I really don't think it wants to. So cool, clever artillery plays by Testu right here. I do like to see that. Now Testu opens up a tank on the right side. And Laska finally begins to capture his airports. Now going for the cities in the center. And already going for a bit of a cheeky lab capture right here. Again, he has to cap both labs. But if he can secure this lab early, then that means that Testu kind of has to swing a lot of forces over here to guard the lab. Because, again, you lose both your labs. It's a GG. So, definitely has to be very careful here. Again, this is what I said. These labs are a lot more exposed than you may think. Of course, battlecopters can quickly reinforce. But Laska has already taken that into account because he's built an anti-air, which can dart around here and already kind of zone these two airports out. So Testu is not careful here. He can suddenly find himself in a very cheeky position, but he's a strong player, so I'm sure he'll see it coming. Day 7 rolls in. Let's see what Testu decides to do. Finishes capturing a bunch of properties. Both of these players' capture game is on point. I don't think I'm going to find any mistakes if I look into them. Guarding this capture right here with 2 infantry. Love to see it. You want to get those cities up quickly. You don't want to leave yourself open to interruption. Day 8 rolls in. Laska continues capturing, captures his first airport, goes for the comm tower down in the bottom left. Lots of neutral cities being captured right now. We're still on the capture phase of the game. Laska gets his comm tower. Now builds an artillery. So seeing Testu's artillery here, saying, okay, well, this was a strong artillery. I guess I should build an artillery too. I can just look. You can place the artillery here, and it defends beautifully. So again, a very, very strong artillery map. I'd say Inkugark would definitely approve this map. Testu now has both airports. Goes for the attack now. Actually attacks the infantry. Won't kill it though. Now places the artillery behind the mountain. Pretty clever. Look how strong that artillery is there, right there. It's great. Using the battlecopter to prevent the cap. You love to see it. Don't just want to hand cities over to your opponent. If you can deny them, you definitely should. Day 9 rolls in. See what Laska decides to do now. Captures his comm tower. Finishes capturing his other properties as well. Both players on 18k income right now. Moves his tank into the center. Follows it up with the artillery. Kind of copying what Testu is doing here. They're both like doing the same thing with the artillery. Looks like most of the conflict in this particular battle is going to take place in the center. Moves the tank on the comm tower as well. And just plunks his infantry right down in front of the battlecopter, saying, all right, you want to stay here? I got an anti-air coming, buddy. You better run. Testu captures his comm tower now, sending some infantry down on the right flank. Maybe see if he can snag a city. It's not going to get a lot done without an anti-air, though, so I'm expecting an anti-air. He could move this anti-air down. But you probably want to build multiple anti-air on this map anyway, because you're going to see a lot of battlecopters and eventually bombers, I think. So getting those anti-air out. Ooh, here we go. Testu goes for the tank on the comm tower. Gets a 6-6 even engagement right here. Aggressive, but I like it. Oh, wow, he's really aggressive. He just charges straight into the artillery range, going for the city. Now, Laska has to pretty much expend the tank to interrupt this if he wants to, or if he wants to interrupt here, or he can just let it fall and let Testu have it. This is technically on Testu's side of the map, I think, so I don't think it's a huge issue, but I like this attack here. Ah, he walls it in, so now Laska has to use his artillery to interrupt the cap if he wants to do that. He could, though. He definitely could. But it looks like both players are going to get cheeky early on here. Day 10. Laska now finishes capturing his second comm tower. So 20% firepower on both sides, right? That's the magic number. That means wall breaking is a lot easier, because once you hit that 20%, that means you could 2-hit tanks on cities with your other tanks. goes back, capturing the airport, and Testu doesn't have any tanks in this area. So this is actually kind of, I mean, this is what I said, these labs, be very careful. They can fall incredibly easily. You don't really have a lot on this flank. You can build a tank right here, but it has to drive around the mountains. And a battlecopter's not going to be able to do anything against this anti-air, so Testu pretty much either has to build a bomber or build a tank. Otherwise, he risks losing his lab. So we definitely don't want to do that. That would be very scary. I don't think Testu's going to break through here, though. I think Laska's going to be able to defend this. Oh, yeah. All right. Okay. So he takes a shot. He decides that he wants to keep the city, even though it's technically not his city. Interesting. Moving the tank over on the grass instead of the city. I guess he really doesn't want this tank to be able to drive around and strike his artillery. So that makes sense. The problem is, though, with this particular play is that he opens himself up to be shot at by a Kindle tank on a city. And we know Kindle tanks on cities, they hurt. That's a 40% bonus. So, not sure about this one. He's kind of throwing away the tank to keep his artillery alive. Of course, he can strike the tank back with his artillery, but I'd say it's seeing how aggressive Testu has played this, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for it anyway. Oh yeah, he goes for it. That's 60% extra firepower. 40% from the city, 20% from the comm towers. That's scary. And he just goes for it. And he takes shot with his infantry against the artillery, bringing it down to 7 health. Now he's forced to build a tank. He has no choice. Join camps on the city. Alright, he really wants that city. Battlecopter comes in. He's shifting them into the center. More battlecopters. I'd probably get more anti-air out if I was Laska. And again, now a little attack on the right-hand flank here is coming in. And Testu really wants to get that property. Now he too is building an anti-air and sending it down on the flank. Really exciting matchup so far. Powers are going to start coming in though, sooner than you may think. Ooh, what is going on here? Laska sending his battlecopter sub, ignoring the anti-air, or maybe he just really wants to kill. I guess he just really wants to kill the tank. Huh. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. So he's just kind of sacking the battlecopter for a tank. Get some good engagements in the center right here. Oh, interesting. All right. So he realizes that he's going to get struck this turn anyway. So he gets to attack a little bit with his battlecopters. That's okay. I mean, battlecopter worth 9,000 kills a tank and an infantry. It's practically an even trade, and there's a chance for him to kill the anti-air next turn. So I actually do like this play a lot. More infantry moving on the left flank. A tank comes out. Ooh, I like this double artillery right here. This is a strong defensive position for Laska. The problem is Testu has this Urban Blight coming up, and we all know how much Urban Blight can devastate a fortified position. Is he going to pop it? No. He wants to get a bit of power charge first. Smart. I like that. Yeah, okay. He's holding on to his Urban Blight. He's demonstrating a lot of restraint here. I actually like this a lot. A lot of Kindle players, I think, in this situation would have just blindly popped their Urban Blight. But Testu's getting as much power charge as he can. He doesn't really need the Urban Blight this turn. He doesn't really need it. So, but he still pops it at the end of the turn after he's charged up a bunch. So this was a very, very strong turn by Testu. And now if we take a look at his power, we actually cannot, but we will see it next turn how much power he's got left over. Very devastating attack by Testu right here. That's strong. That's very strong. Oh my goodness, that's devastating actually. He halves the value of Laska. Now Laska does have his prime tactic almost ready. And he definitely needs to pop it. He's probably gonna pop it, I think. Is he gonna pop it? Is he gonna pop it? He pops it! There we go. So Lash is ready to lash out, I guess you could say. So let's see what happens here. He is 30k value behind, so he needs to make something happen here. He can't just sit around. Like, Testu is charging in, putting a lot of pressure on the center here. But let's see. Prime tactics can be pretty damn good on this map, so let's see if he can make something happen here. Very nice. Moves through 2 forest tiles to one-shot an artillery. That's just beautiful. That's a beautiful example of Lasha's powers working really well. So she gets to drive through all the way through here, and with the 40% extra firepower from Prime Tactics, she gets to one-shot an artillery. That's absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, this is a lot of good terrain for Lash to utilize right here. The anti-air even neutralizing that battlecopter, which is nice. Infantry just darting over those mountains, and look at this. 6 defense stars, 70% extra defense. Even both battlecopters will not really be able to dent this infantry much, so if Testu doesn't do that, then Laska's gonna get that property, and that would be pretty devastating, I think. Alright, day 12. Thing is, though, because Testu has charged up so much power, then he has his Urban Blade. He'll probably get it this turn, which means he can interrupt the gap. So he did a really good job charging up a lot of power. And now he's going to get it. Yeah, he pops it. 4-7, that's funny. But now he doesn't need to worry about his infantry. And this is one of the reasons why Lash has such a hard time against Kindle. Because, you know, one of Lash's favorite things to do... Oh my god, that anti-air engagement. Look at how disgusting Kindle gets. One of Lash's favorite things to do is to pop that Prime Tactics and go for some contested properties. But Kindle can just go lol Urban Blight and just deny that. Which is... tough. It's tough to deal with. And now you can just see this is why Prime Tactics is such a bad power, because as soon as you take a little bit of damage, that defense just stops mattering. Like, if this was a full health infantry, it would hardly take damage, but because it's lost 3 HP, it gets less defense from the train stars, and it's like it doesn't even get the defense at all. Prime Tactics just falls apart whenever your units are damaged. You need your units to be on full health to get any benefit out of it at all. And that's why it's such a situational power. And new players just don't understand this. They think Lash is amazing because they don't understand how terrain stars work. And now, Testu is even pressuring this property right here, which is not great. So, Laska is definitely in a bit of a bind right now. Let's see if he can make a comeback. Comes in with the battlecopter. That's nice. Ah, doesn't quite kill it. Get some good artillery engagements. Strong engagements in the center here. Strong engagements. Is mopping up a lot of Testu's weak units right here. That's solid. Oof, really doesn't like taking engagements over here, though. But yeah, he needs more anti-air. There's battlecopters swarming around here like mosquitoes. This demands a response. But I will say, Laska did a good job just cleaning up a lot of Testu's units this turn. This was solid. Suddenly he's looking a little bit better in the center. However, now Testu is applying pressure surrounding the battlecopter. That's cute. Love to see play like that. But, oof. Yeah, now Laska risks losing the, com tower, and now Testu's even applying some pressure to this lab, forcing him to divert unit, capturing 3 properties at once this turn. This is devastating for Laska. This is very devastating for Laska. Artillery, I guess he's feeling pretty confident since he's building an artillery on day 13. But Laska's not giving up. He's determined to try and make a comeback here. Let's see if he can do it. Tank comes in. He's gonna lose at least 1 city, which is pretty devastating. Both players have been tied on income for this whole match. This is the first time we're gonna see that swing away. So this city, and he's gonna get a lab too, which is actually pretty scary. This is actually really scary because if he loses this lab now, yeah, you gotta be careful. Those labs, man. Ooh, does a join cap even. So that's another city he's probably gonna get. And now he's applying. Yeah, he knows he can get that lab. He can get a quick victory here if Laska's not careful. He would love nothing more than to capture that lab. Beautiful positioning by his tank on this com tower right here. There's nothing really that can threaten it. And even, oh my god, he has the unit count advantage, so he's comfortable join capping, and he's doing it beautifully. It's a very beautiful example of when to join cap. It's risky to do, but when done right, it can be a game-winning maneuver. Laska in a heap of trouble right now, being 6 units behind on unit count, and several of his properties are being captured. Not a good position to be in at all. But he has a lot of infantry on the left flank. could maybe have a go at the lab, and it looks like that's what he's doing. He might end up with a bit of a lab race here, ladies and gentlemen. Day 15 rolls in. Now Testu has a huge advantage. 22k to 17k. That's not a good position to be in for Laska. He is on the clock right. Oh! Wow. This is the shit Kindle can get away with, ladies and gentlemen. Look at this. Battlecopter versus Anti-Air on a city. Boom. Brings it to 6 HP. It's still dangerous, but it's not as... like, this has severely halted Laska's push onto the lab. You can see Testu happily throwing away a battlecopters because he's got 2 airports here. He can happily throw away a couple units. He's ahead. And another devastating Urban Blight. This is what I'm talking about. This Urban Blight, man. What does Lash do again? Oh, the common tower. Ay, ay, ay. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, man. Testu's a good player. This is painful to watch. Lash Bros. We got too cocky. We got too cocky, Lash Bros. Oh, Testu just displaying dominance in this particular matchup right here. Day 16. It's not looking good for Laska, but he is determined to rush for the lab, and that's exactly what he's doing. He's moving all of his units on the left flank up. This entire area is completely exposed. I wouldn't be so cocky if I was Testu, honestly. I wouldn't be so cocky if I was Testu. I'm gonna be completely honest. I think, and the prime tactics is coming in, ladies and gentlemen. And if Laska can get a double cap with prime tactics, Testu just popped his power. So I think this is literally what Laska is going for right now. He's gunning for the cheeky finish. Day 60 rolls in. Testu has to build battlecopters, and yeah, maybe even a bomber. He's completely wiping out Laska on the right-hand side here. Capturing his base now. He knows that victory is very near, but he also knows that if he's not careful, he can lose his lab. So he has to start diverging some units over to the left-hand side right now. Ooh, 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 ooh. Neo tank on the left side. I would have maybe gone double battlecopter, but Neo tank works too, I guess. Ooh, all right. Are we gonna see a prime tactics? Yeah, we're gonna see a prime tactics. Let's go.
Prime tactics.
All right, Laska. This is if you're gonna do something, you better do it now. Ooh, I think that was a low roll, maybe. Captures the lab. I don't think this is gonna work. It would be really cool if it did, though. He has an infantry in range. Problem is he popped his prime tactics maybe a turn too early. If he had held it for just one more turn, he could have done a double lab cap with prime tactics, which may just have been enough. But I don't... All that Testu needs to do right now is to build a bomber. And with the 5 HP anti-air, it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. His Urban Blight is still quite a far way away, though, so he probably won't get it in time to interrupt. I think he's sweating a little bit right now, but I think he's got it under control. Yeah, double battlecopter. There it is. There it is. Day 18. And he resigns. So, that was fun. A bit more of an uneven matchup than I expected. But it's always a joy to see two 1400s go toe-to-toe. Testu definitely mopped the floor with Laska in this matchup, but he is also close to 1500. Laska is like low 1400, so he's definitely the higher rated player, and I really think it showed in this matchup, and the fact that I do think Kindle has the advantage against Lash, even on a heavily terrain map such as this. But, well played to both of you, and as I said, guys, sign up for the Egg Cup if you haven't. You got until Saturday. After that, signups are closed, so last chance to join. And as I said, guys, if you would like to help out with the organizing, I could really use a few extra hands on this. So please send me a mail at manxmemes@gmail.com, and let me know if you want to help out. I would very much appreciate it. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I have been Thanks. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.